Roman Reigns stands as one of pro wrestling's biggest stars. He is the epitome of what you want out of a WWE superstar. When he walks into an arena, the music plays, the people cheer, and the ones go up acknowledging their tribal chief. Roman Reigns is one of the most electrifying stars that WWE has today, but Roman Reigns, the character, stands as a contradiction. Someone who has not acknowledged the pain that he has caused others, someone who has been indifferent to the damage that he has done to members of his own family, and a character that is coasting off of vibes alone and ignoring the cold hard truth that he is indeed a liar. In this video, we are going to take a look at the contradictions of the Roman Reigns character, why, in my view, he is one of the worst characters in all of pro wrestling, and why exactly has WWE chosen not to make Roman acknowledge the past. All that and much more coming up right here in this video, so be sure to smash that thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I'm Omar Q from Wrestle Vibes, and this is the hypocrisy of Roman Reigns. As we've covered in the past, the Roman Reigns character has taken a wild route to get to where he is today at the top of the WWE mountain. He at one point was a white meat babyface that was shoved down the fans' throats, that they rejected in mass. He was not the person that WWE fans wanted to be the big star in 2016, 2017, or 2018. It wasn't until 2020, when Roman Reigns finally turned heel, that fans began to pay attention, become intrigued with where this character was going, and it truly is one of the coolest character arcs of anyone in WWE history, because Roman became the epitome of a final boss. Not to be confused with his cousin The Rock, but Roman Reigns was the guy at the end of the bridge, guarding the city and making sure that everybody stays out. And you knew whenever a big star was going to face him for the title, it was going to be a tall task. And that task only got even taller once he added the likes of the Usos in his ranks by his side, who would interfere in matches on his behalf. And the interesting thing here is, following his World Championship win in 2020, Roman Reigns went after Jimmy and Jey Uso, asking them, nay, demanding that they submit to him and acknowledge him as the one true tribal chief. And this led to a disagreement where Jimmy and Jey were not opposed to Roman Reigns being at the table, but they were not necessarily on board with him being the head of the table, because they felt like they should all have been equal. They felt like they were family, and Roman was not about to let that slide. That is why that Hell in a Cell match was so visceral. Roman Reigns was not just trying to prove a point by winning a match and retaining his title. He was trying to establish dominance. He was trying to emotionally manipulate and abuse his cousins into submission. And that is precisely what happened. When he locked in that hold on Jimmy Uso and forced Jey to quit that Hell in a Cell match, that was the turning point. Because at that point, we got Roman Reigns the champion just as much as we got Roman Reigns the manipulator. He manipulated his cousins, and then he went on to do the same thing with Sami Zayn. When Sami Zayn was at his worst in WWE as a character, when he was looking for purpose, when he was looking for belonging, he was looking for somewhere to be, to prove that he was still worthy of doing this for a living, the bloodline was there for him. And Roman Reigns, you can go back and look at this, the way that he approached Sami Zayn, the way that he showed affection to Sami Zayn, it was in many ways one of the coolest things, because it gave us a glimpse into a different side of Roman Reigns, a side of Roman Reigns that cared about people, but in the end, we all can look back now and realize that this wasn't Roman caring in a way that you would for a friend, in a way that you would for a family member. It was more so Roman caring about Sami as you would a pet. Because Roman never accepted the idea of Sami being on his level. At the end of the day, he was supposed to be just like Jay. He was supposed to be just like Jimmy. He was supposed to be just like Paul Heyman, all of whom submitted their allegiance unconditionally to Roman Reigns, the head of the table. And this is where his ego came into play, because when his ego and his authority were challenged, first by Sami Zayn at the Royal Rumble 2023, and then by Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso later that year, Roman snapped. He could not handle it. That is why he got as emotional as he did in those feuds. And it is why WrestleMania 40 was such a pivotal point for him as a character, because not only would he lose the title, but he would also lose the idea and the shield and the veil that he was the best of the best, because it was no longer true. Now, Roman would be forced to do it alone. Roman would be forced to go at it alone. And this could have been a great chance for WWE to tell a story of redemption for Roman Reigns, to make him reckon with his past, to make him reflect on his mistakes. Yet that is not the path that they took. Instead, Roman just came out and everybody just joined him unconditionally again. Yes, there was virtue signaling to this idea that they are now more equal than they originally were, but weirdly, Roman was still the one calling the shots. His authority was not challenged. He was not put in his place. He was not even positioned as an equal going into the War Games match in 2024. Instead, we were back to the same dynamic, just with less emotional manipulation. And that is where Roman Reigns as a character has failed. Roman Reigns was never made to deal with the mistakes of his past, from abusing his cousins both physically and emotionally, to abusing someone who was down on his luck like Sami Zayn, to even abusing the wise man Paul Heyman. That is why when Paul Heyman comes out and says that Roman Reigns was going to turn on him, or that Roman Reigns is really the bad guy, that idea has a lot of credibility, because in some ways it is true. Roman Reigns is lying to all of us. The character is the same as he was a couple of years ago as a heel, and that is the problem. There has never been a segment where Roman has been made to apologize. There has never been a segment where Roman Reigns has had to work his way back as a character into these relationships. They just accepted him. And if you look at how they developed that original Bloodline storyline, it does not do that story justice. The original Bloodline story was built on emotion, was built on the premise that Roman Reigns, the big dog of WWE, the top star, would eventually not only get his comeuppings in the ring, but emotionally with these relationships that he has gone on roller coaster rides with. And that never happened. And in that way, they failed the entire premise of what this original Roman Reigns character was supposed to be. Being held accountable by those around him and those that he was trying to be in community with. Roman got off scot-free without having to do any work. And obviously the reason for that is that WWE either don't care enough to put that much thought into the character, because he is going to draw, he is going to get the reactions anyway, or even worse, the idea of Roman apologizing is a non-starter because it makes him look weak. And in either situation, it is completely asinine. And that is why today, the Roman Reigns character stands as a liar, a hypocrite, someone who has never been made to pay for his crimes, someone who has never been made to work for that emotional connection with his loved ones, someone who, in my opinion, is one of the worst characters in WWE today. Let me know what you guys thought of this video. If you liked it, be sure to smash that thumbs up. Also, check out one of these other videos from WrestleVibes.